My fellow Decepticons, it is I, Starscreamsalot here, coming back to you today with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Master Grade Zagok from Universal Century Mobile Suit Gundam. I don't think I have a lot to say in the preamble before the video begins. Sorry I didn't post last week. Pretty busy that week, so it is what it is. But other than that, I don't have too much else to say. Other than, let's get into it, shall we? Now, details and that sort of thing. Because this is, again, a mobile suit and a model kit from Gundam. It's not technically super detailed. I mean, this is a Master Grade from Universal Century, so it wasn't going to be. But, you know, it's another Zagok, so it looks super cool. But there are, don't be mistaken, there are still details in this thing. For example, in the arms. Can I take this off? Is this gonna? Oh, man, that came off pretty easy. In the arms, you can see that there are actually some rubber wires in there, just to give it that more real robot feeling, I suppose. That real mecha feeling, which I think is super cool. And it's also in the legs. I didn't build, I kind of didn't push that piece in all the way, and for some reason it doesn't want to go in anymore, so I suppose I didn't build this guy entirely right, but it's kind of minor and it doesn't bug me very much, except when it does. But as you can see, generally not too detailed, mostly because all the detail was kind of reserved for the inner frame. He does have some details, like this gray spot behind his knee. You can see that there are, that black thing in there is actually rubber. There's multiple rubber parts all over this guy. Like, you know, those wires inside of here. This thing right here is supposed to be like a floating piece, but for me it just kind of always goes up in there, so it's never really there. My chair is especially squeaky today, and I do not know why. Another thing that I want to point out is, well, I mean, for me, on my copy at least, the claws, especially on that right hand, really like to pop out, which are pretty annoying. Which is honestly my biggest issue with this kit, is that's those two hands, and I guess the claws themselves, do tend to pop out pretty easy. But other than that, this is a pretty fantastic kit. I want to quickly talk about the build on this guy, which was, there they go again. I'm just going to leave that off for now, because I do not care enough. But one thing I do want to talk about, the build on this kit was superb. This is, out of all my kits, was my favorite build. It was super fun. It was a nice step up, because this was my first Master Grade. It was a nice step up from all the high grades that I had built up until that point. It was, you know, challenging, but not so challenging that it was like, you know, why did I buy this? And it's just a nice kit, you know? I love the Zagok. This is my favorite mobile suit. And I dropped his hand. Oh boy. Anyways. Again, the build, super nice. The plastic, pretty good too. For like a 20-year-old kit, this thing is not bad at all. It's almost like a better version of the high grade, which, you know, I already love that high grade. But this guy is just so nice, you know? And also, for a Master Grade, he's got a couple of gimmicks too. Like, if I can open it, because I don't have tweezers or anything on me. This cockpit does open. There we go. To reveal, let's see if I can get this right. Stupid train's always coming by. Where's my light? There we go. Oh, and I just pushed it back in. There we go. As you can see in there, the little char. Little char. There is a standing one too, but he's kind of like sticky tacked on my shelf and I don't feel like getting him off. These parts in here do move, as you can see. They move. It's pretty cool. They were a pain to put in, but you know, once they were in, they stayed in. Although sometimes they do pop out. And my favorite gimmick out of any mono-eyed suit is that you can take off this piece to move the mono eye, which is awesome. I love moving mono eyes. I think they should be like a necessity, or like a you have to do this if you're gonna build a mono eye suit. Like you should have a posable mono eye. It's just so nice for posing. And since for a lot of these mono-eyed kits, they don't technically really have heads, giving them the posable mono-eye just really adds that little bit of articulation that he would normally be missing, especially on the Zagok. Because I know, like, you know, the Gog has a head and the Arc-Guy has a head, kind of. Like, you know, like High Gog, Zogok, right? They don't really have heads. But I do suppose that's a nice segue to talk about the articulation. Now, as you saw, nothing at the head is mono eye, but the mono eye does move. The arms, not technically universals because of how just the way the shoulders are, how they're situated. But they do technically rotate all the way around. They go up pretty far. This joint moves, this joint moves, this joint rotates. They all rotate a little bit, but with the wires in there, I wouldn't recommend stressing that because you could break it. Elbow bends a little bit less than 90, but with all of the other joints combined, you do get to that like past 90, I suppose. Oh dear. Maybe be careful with how much you're putting pressure on that, so that doesn't happen. Each of the claws do in fact move, so you can, you know, because these are guns. He's got gun hands, which are pretty cool. The thrusters do not move. He has a rotation at the top of his whatever this part would be called, and one at the waist. It doesn't go all the way around because I don't know if you can hear that snapping, but it's not the joint itself, or it's not like the joint or the plastic snapping. It's the way it rubs against itself, and I don't like that sound at all, so I'm not gonna do that. It's a scary sound. I don't know why it's still making that sound. Oh, it's the stupid claws. Or it's the that little moving bit. The legs, like the shoulders, don't necessarily kick out all the way because, you know, the way it's all designed, but it can technically go all the way around. And like with the arms, they have that very similar style of motion, so you can get all sorts of movement out of that. They do all rotate, ankle rocker, and this piece does move as well. So in terms of articulation, it's all right, you know, for a 20-year-old master grade. It still holds up, you know, gets all the necessary poses I need out of a Zagok, which is not a whole lot. I just need him to be stabbing stuff like gems. Anyways, before we leave, let's do some quick size comparisons. Here we have the Earthrise Starscream, and here we have the SH Monster Arts -1 Godzilla. Here is him, And yeah, he's pretty tall. I mean, he's a master grade, so 1/100th skill. It's pretty big, if you ask me. But, you know, it's still cool. I'm not as big a fan of 1/100th scale as I am 1/144th, but, you know, that is what it is. I would make an exception for the Zagox, or aquatic suits in general. I would like the master grade Gog and Ak guy at some point. Although I'm probably going to get the high grades first. Here's a little comparison with the Universal Century regular Zagox, the high grade. Ugh. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. Shorter one this time because, you know, it's a Gunpla review. For my thoughts on this kit, it is a very nice kit. This is a very, very cool kit. I don't like it as much as I used to. That the honeymoon phase has worn off, but I still do really like this thing a whole lot. Some of the parts do fall out a bit easy, but unlike, you know, the high grade, it's at least not super loose, which I appreciate. It's kind of just a take your pick, you know, pieces fall off or is loose. But I'd say he does everything that he needs to do pretty well. So yeah, if you like the video, like the video. If you're not already, please do subscribe and join my Discord server. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.